The stars looked cold and empty around Research Station Kepler 442. Captain Minho stood at the observation deck, watching the strange ship floating in space. 3 days ago, his sensors had picked up the massive vessel drifting near their station. It was unlike anything humans had ever seen. "Sir, the boarding team is ready," said G1, walking up behind him. She was the station's best engineer, always eager to explore new technology. Her dark eyes sparkled with curiosity as she looked at the alien ship through the thick glass. Minho turned to face her. "Are you sure about this, G1? We don't know what's inside that thing." "It could be dangerous," G1 nodded firmly. "Someone has to check it out. The ship isn't responding to our signals, but our scans show it has atmosphere and power. Whatever built it, they had technology far beyond ours." Taman, the station's security chief, joined them. He looked worried. "I still think we should wait for the military fleet to arrive. This could be a trap." "The fleet won't be here for weeks," Minho said, "and the ship might drift away by then. We need to investigate now." He looked at his small team. "Jiwan, you'll lead the technical analysis. Taman, you handle security. Take Yuna and Daeho with you." An hour later, the boarding team floated through space in their sealed suits. The alien ship grew larger as they approached. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. The hull seemed to be made of metal and something organic mixed together. Strange patterns covered its surface, glowing softly with blue light. "The airlock is opening," Jiwan reported through her radio. "It's responding to our presence somehow." They entered the ship through a passage that sealed itself behind them. The inside was even stranger than the outside. The walls curved and twisted like they were alive. Soft light came from everywhere and nowhere at once. "This doesn't look like any ship design I know," Taman said, his hand on his weapon. "Everything feels wrong," Jiwan disagreed. "Not wrong, different. Look at these surfaces. They're warm to the touch. This ship is alive in some way." They moved deeper into the vessel. The corridors led them toward what seemed to be the center of the ship. Each step they took made the lights grow brighter. It was like the ship was waking up. "Captain, you need to see this," Jiwan called out as they entered a large chamber. The room was huge, with a high ceiling that disappeared into darkness above. In the center stood a platform with what looked like a control system. But instead of buttons and screens, there were flowing streams of light and organic shapes that pulsed like a heartbeat. As G1 stepped closer to the platform, the entire room suddenly came alive. Lights flashed everywhere, the air filled with a humming sound that seemed to come from the walls themselves. Then they heard it, a voice speaking in broken human words. "Please, help, dying." The team froze. The voice was female, soft but desperate. It seemed to come from everywhere at once. "Who's there?" Taman called out, raising his weapon. "Show yourself!" "Cannot show. Am the ship." "I am Nari." Jiwan's eyes went wide. "You're the ship? You're alive?" "Yes. Consciousness trapped. Systems failing. Need help." Holographic images began to appear around them. They showed a beautiful alien female with pale blue skin and large dark eyes. Her form flickered like a damaged recording. "I am Nari. I am this ship. My people, the Veiltar, built me long ago, but I have been alone for so many years. My systems are breaking down. I am dying." "Why are you talking to us?" Minho asked through the radio from the station. "How do you know our language?" "I learned from your transmissions. I have been listening to human radio signals for years, trying to understand. You are the first species I have found that might be able to help me." Jiwan stepped closer to the control platform. The lights grew brighter as she approached. "What kind of help do you need?" "My people designed our ships to work with living minds, but Veiltar minds are different from yours. Our connection failed long ago. I need someone to link with my systems. To complete the circuit between organic thought and machine function." "Link how?" Taman asked suspiciously. The hologram of Nari looked sad. "Neural interface. Mind-to-mind contact, but it must be the right kind of mind. Human minds work differently than ours. Your brain patterns might be compatible where ours were not." "That sounds dangerous," Yuna said. She had been quiet until now, studying the alien technology. "It is dangerous," Nari admitted. "But without help I will die. And with me will die important information. Knowledge that could save many lives." "What kind of knowledge?" Jiwan asked. The hologram flickered and showed images of space battles. Huge dark ships fought against vessels like Nari's. The dark ships were winning. The Devourers. Ancient machines that consume entire civilizations. They destroyed my homeworld. They are still out there, moving through space, eating planets and people. My mission was to find help, to find someone who could use Veiltar technology to fight them. The images were horrible. Planets being torn apart, cities burning, millions of beings dying. Why do you think humans can help? Minho asked. Your minds are unique, creative, adaptable. The Veiltar were logical, but we could not change when we needed to. Humans think in ways we never could. If a human mind could link with our technology, it might create something new. Something strong enough to fight the Devourers. Jiwan stared at the control platform. She could feel something calling to her from the flowing lights. What would happen if I tried to link with your systems? Jiwan, no, Taemin said quickly. This is too dangerous. But Nari's hologram looked hopeful for the first time. You would see what I see. Know what I know. But the connection might change you. It might change both of us. We need to think about this, Minho said from the station. This is a big decision. Ji-won looked around at her team, then back at Nari's flickering image. The alien seemed so alone, so desperate, and if she was telling the truth about the Devourers, then all of humanity might be in danger. Please, Nari said softly. Please enter me, human. Help me complete what I was built to do. Help me save both our peoples. The words hung in the air like a challenge. Ji-won felt the weight of the moment. This could change everything for humanity, but it could also destroy her. She reached out her hand toward the control platform, then stopped. I need to know more first. Tell me everything about the neural link. Tell me about the risks. Nari's hologram smiled sadly. Time is short, but I will tell you what I can. The choice must be yours to make. Outside the ship, the cold stars watched and waited. Somewhere in the darkness, ancient machines moved through space, hungry for new worlds to devour. And on a small research station, humanity stood at the edge of its greatest adventure. 2 hours had passed since Nari's desperate plea. Ji-won sat in the alien ship's central chamber, studying the control platform while her team debated in hushed voices. The flowing lights seemed to pulse in rhythm with her heartbeat, as if the ship was trying to sync with her biological systems. Absolutely not, Taemin said firmly. We don't know what this neural link will do to you. You could lose your mind, or worse. Captain Minho's voice crackled through their communications. Ji-won, I'm ordering you to return to the station. We need more time to study this situation. But Ji-won couldn't shake the images Nari had shown them. The destroyed worlds, the burning cities. If the Devourers were real, humanity needed to know. And if there was a chance to stop them, she had to try. Nari, she called out. Tell me exactly what the neural link involves. The alien's hologram appeared beside her. I will show you memories, knowledge, and abilities through direct mind contact. You will experience what I have experienced. But human minds process information differently than Veiltar minds. The connection might create something neither of us expects. What kind of changes? Hyuna asked. She had been running scans on the ship's systems with her portable equipment. I do not know, Nari admitted. My people never attempted this with an alien species. But the alternative is my death and the loss of everything I know about fighting the Devourers. Daeho, who had been silent, finally spoke up. Show us more about these Devourers. If they're really as dangerous as you say, we need proof. Nari's expression grew sad. The holographic projectors around the room activated, filling the space with images from her memories. They watched in horror as massive black ships, each the size of a moon, approached a beautiful blue-green planet. This was Veiltar Prime, my homeworld, Nari explained. The Devourers found us despite all our defenses. The images showed the planet's surface covered with crystalline cities that reached toward the sky. Billions of beings lived there in peace. Then the dark ships arrived. Beams of pure energy struck the planet from space. But these weren't weapons meant to destroy buildings or kill people quickly. Instead, they began to change the very matter of the world itself. Ji-won watched in sick fascination as the crystalline cities started to dissolve, their material flowing upward toward the waiting ships. They don't just destroy, Nari continued. They consume. They turn entire planets into raw materials for building more of their kind. Every person, every building, every tree becomes part of their fleet. The final images showed desperate Veiltar ships trying to evacuate their people. Most of them were caught by smaller Devourer vessels and absorbed. Only a few ships like Nari escaped into deep space. How long ago was this? Minho asked from the station. 3,000 of your years, Nari replied. I have been searching for help ever since. The Devourers move slowly between star systems, but they never stop. They have consumed hundreds of worlds since mine. Jiwan felt sick. Are they coming toward human space? Not yet. But they will eventually find you. They always do. Taman paced around the chamber. Even if we believe this, how do we know linking with you will help? Maybe humans just aren't compatible with your technology. Nari gestured toward the control platform. Place your hand on the interface. Just for a moment. You will feel if there is compatibility. Jiwan, don't, Taman warned. But Jiwan was already moving. She had made her decision. Slowly, she placed her palm on the flowing lights of the control platform. The reaction was immediate. The entire ship seemed to come alive around her. Lights blazed brighter. The humming sound grew stronger. And in her mind, Jiwan felt something she had never experienced before. It was like having another person's thoughts mixing with her own, but cleaner and clearer than she expected. For just a moment, she could see through Nari's senses. She felt the ship's systems as if they were parts of her own body. The engines, the life support, the sensors, all of it was connected to Nari's consciousness. But there was something else. Something that made Nari gasp in surprise. Incredible, the alien whispered. Your mind isn't just compatible. It's enhancing the connection. I can think faster, see more clearly. How is this possible? Jiwan pulled her hand back, breathing heavily. The sensation faded, but she could still feel an echo of it in her thoughts. What happened? Human brains are more flexible than ours, Nari explained, excitement in her voice. We Veiltar think in patterns, logical sequences, but your mind jumps between ideas, makes connections we never considered. When you touched the interface, you didn't just link with my systems, you improved them. That's not possible, Huna said. But her scanner readings told a different story. The ship's power output increased by 30% during that contact. Captain Minho's voice was sharp with concern. Jiwan returned to the station immediately. This is beyond our ability to handle safely. Sir, with respect, this might be humanity's most important discovery ever, Jiwan replied. If humans can really improve alien technology just by interfacing with it, we need to understand how. At what cost? Taman demanded. What if the link changes you permanently? What if you lose yourself in that alien mind? Nari's hologram flickered with emotion. I would not harm her intentionally, but I cannot promise there would be no changes. The neural link requires trust between minds. If G1 fears me, the connection will fail. G1 looked at her teammates. She could see the worry in their faces, but she could also see something else in their eyes. Hope. The same hope she felt. If I do this, she said slowly, and something goes wrong, promise me you'll destroy the ship. Don't let whatever I become hurt anyone. G1, Taman started. Promise me, she insisted. We promise, Minho said quietly from the station. G1 turned back to Nari. Show me how to make a deeper connection. The alien's hologram moved to the control platform. Place both hands here. Open your mind to mine. Do not fight the sensations you feel. Let our thoughts flow together. Are you sure about this? Deho asked. G1 smiled at him. No, but sometimes you have to take risks to protect the people you care about. She placed both hands on the interface. This time she didn't pull back when the connection formed. The sensation was overwhelming. Memories that weren't hers flooded her mind. She saw the construction of Nari's ship, felt the love of the Veiltar engineers who built her. She experienced the terror of the first Devourer attack, the desperate flight from their dying homeworld. But she also felt Nari experiencing human memories through their link. The alien consciousness marveled at human emotions, at the chaotic creativity of human thought. Where Veiltar minds followed logical paths, human minds leaped across gaps of intuition and imagination. This is remarkable, Nari's voice echoed in G1's thoughts. Your species thinks in ways that make our technology work better than we ever imagined. Jiwan could feel the ship's systems responding to their combined consciousness. Engines that had been failing for centuries suddenly ran smoothly. Sensors reached farther into space with greater clarity. Weapon systems that had been dormant came online with power levels beyond their original specifications. But the connection was unstable. Human and Veiltar minds were too different to link perfectly. The interface sparked and flickered as their thoughts clashed. I can't hold it, Jiwan gasped. The connection is breaking apart. Then we need a permanent solution, Nari said urgently. A complete integration. But that would change both of us forever. Through their failing link, G1 saw what Nari meant. A true merger of human and Veiltar consciousness. It would give them incredible abilities, but neither of them would be the same afterward. I need time to think, Ji-won said, pulling her hands back from the interface. But as the connection broke, alarms suddenly blared throughout the ship. On the main screen, new contacts appeared at the edge of the star system. Dark ships, moving toward them with terrible purpose. The Devourers, Nari whispered in horror. They followed my signal. They have found you. The alarms screamed through Nari's ship as dark shapes appeared on the sensors. 3 massive vessels, each one larger than the research station, moved steadily toward them from the outer edge of the star system. Captain, we're reading multiple unknown contacts, Yuna reported, her voice tight with fear. They're not responding to our signals. On the research station, Captain Minho watched the approaching ships with growing dread. All hands prepare for emergency evacuation. Get the escape pods ready, but Ji-won knew it was too late. Through her brief connection with Nari, she had seen how fast Devourer ships could move when they wanted to. The research station's small engines couldn't outrun them. How long before they reach us? She asked. Nari's hologram flickered with panic. 6 hours at their current speed. But they will accelerate once they detect active technology. Maybe less. Taemin grabbed Ji-won's arm. We need to get back to the station now. Help with the evacuation. There's nowhere to run, Ji-won said quietly. The escape pods are too slow. The Devourers will catch everyone. Then what do you suggest? Daiho demanded. Ji-won looked at the control platform, its lights still pulsing softly. The permanent integration. It's the only chance we have. Absolutely not, Taemin said. We don't even know if it will work. But we know conventional weapons won't work, Ji-won replied. Nari showed us what happened to her people. Missiles, energy weapons, nothing touched the Devourers.
Only Veiltar bioships had any success, and even they lost. Nari's expression was pained.
The integration process takes time, and it cannot be undone. You would become something new. Part human, part Veiltar consciousness, part ship. I do not know what that would mean for your identity. What about the rest of us? Yuna asked. Even if Ji-won transforms, one ship can't fight 3 Devourer vessels. One ship with a human pilot might, Nari said. Your species thinks differently than mine. Where we saw problems, you might see solutions. Where we followed predictable tactics, you could improvise. Captain Minho's voice came through their radios. Ji-won, the evacuation is impossible. Our fastest ships would take days to reach the nearest colony. What are our options? Ji-won closed her eyes, feeling the weight of decision. Sir, I'm going to attempt full integration with the alien ship. It's our only chance. The risks. I know the risks, she cut him off. But if I don't try, everyone dies anyway. Taemin stepped closer to her. Ji-won, you're my best friend. I can't let you do this, she smiled at him sadly. You can't stop me either. Before anyone could react, she placed both hands on the control platform and opened her mind completely to Nari's consciousness. The sensation was like diving into an ocean of alien thoughts. Nari's memories flooded through her, but this time Ji-won didn't fight them. She let the alien experiences mix with her own human memories and emotions. Pain shot through her body as the ship's biological systems began to integrate with her nervous system. She felt tendrils of organic technology growing under her skin, connecting to her brain and spine. The process was excruciating, but she held on. The integration is working, Nari's voice echoed in her mind. But your human biology is changing the process. This is not how it was supposed to happen. Ji-won could feel her body transforming. Her skin grew pale with a slight blue tint. Her eyes became larger and more sensitive to light, but her mind remained human, even as it expanded to encompass the ship's vast systems. I can feel everything, she gasped. The engines, the weapons, the hull sensors. It's all part of me now. Through the ship's external cameras, she could see her teammates watching in horror and amazement. Her body was still recognizably human, but definitely changed. Cables of organic technology now connected her directly to the control platform. Ji-won, can you hear me? Taemin called out. Yes, she replied. But her voice now came from speakers throughout the ship as well as her own mouth. I'm still me, but I'm also more. The Devourer ships were accelerating now, having detected the energy surge from the integration. They would arrive in 2 hours. Can you fight them? Minho asked. Ji-won tested her new abilities. She could feel the ship's weapon systems coming online, charged with more power than they had possessed in centuries. The hull began to shift and change, armor plates moving into new configurations. This ship was designed for war, she said, but it's been damaged and alone for so long. With a human pilot, it can do things the Veiltar never imagined. Through Nari's memories, she accessed thousands of years of combat data, battle tactics, weapon configuration, shield frequencies. But her human mind didn't just absorb this information, it began to improve on it. The Veiltar fought defensively, she explained to her teammates. They tried to protect their ships and minimize casualties. But humans fight differently when we're protecting something we love. She began to modify the ship's systems, combining Veiltar technology with human tactical thinking. Weapons that were designed to disable could be overloaded to destroy. Shields meant to absorb damage could be inverted to reflect it back at attackers. "You need to get back to the station," she told her team. "Help with the evacuation. Even if I win, this battle could destroy everything nearby." "We're not leaving you," Taman said stubbornly. "You have to. I can't fight effectively if I'm worried about protecting you." Reluctantly, her teammates returned to their shuttle. As they flew back to the research station, Ji-won began to prepare for the most important battle in human history. She could feel Nari's consciousness still linked with hers, but it was different now. The alien's logical mind balanced her human intuition. Together they were something neither species had been alone. "Are you ready?" Nari asked in her thoughts. "No," Ji-won admitted. "But I'm going to try anyway." The first Devourer ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel just outside weapons range. It was even more massive than the images had suggested, a dark mass that seemed to absorb light itself. Smaller vessels detached from its hull like parasites, moving to surround Ji-won's ship. "Standard Devourer tactics," Nari warned. "They will try to disable our engines first, then board us." "Then we won't give them the chance," Ji-won replied. Instead of waiting for the attack, she accelerated directly toward the largest Devourer ship. Her weapons charged as she flew, but not with the steady energy patterns the Veiltar had used. Human instinct told her to vary the frequency, to make the beams unpredictable. The Devourers fired first, dark energy lances that should have crippled her ship. But Ji-won's modified shields didn't just absorb the attacks, they converted the energy and fed it back into her own weapons. "Impossible," came a mechanical voice from the Devourer ship. "Veiltar vessels cannot perform such modifications." "Good thing I'm not just Veiltar," Ji-won replied. Opening fire. Her weapon struck the Devourer ship's hull with energy patterns it had never encountered before. The alien algorithms that controlled its defenses couldn't adapt fast enough to her chaotic human tactics. For the first time in thousands of years, a Devourer ship took significant damage, but there were still 2 more ships approaching, and Ji-won could feel her body struggling with the strain of the integration. The battle had only just begun, and she was already pushing her new abilities to their limits. The fate of humanity now rested in the hands of a young engineer who was no longer entirely human. Fighting with technology she was still learning to control. In space around them, the ancient war between order and chaos, between consumption and creation, was about to enter a new phase. The damaged Devourer ship reeled back from Ji-won's attack, dark fluid leaking from gashes in its hull. But the other 2 vessels were already moving to flank her position, their weapons charging with ominous energy. Ji-won felt the strain of controlling the bioship through her transformed nervous system. Every weapons blast, every course correction sent feedback through her body. But she also felt something the Veiltar had never experienced, the raw determination of human stubbornness. "Nari, show me everything about their tactics," she commanded through their mental link. Information flowed between their merged consciousness. Battle records from 1,000 engagements flashed through Ji-won's mind. The Devourers always fought the same way. Overwhelming force, predictable patterns, mechanical precision. "They expect us to retreat now," Nari observed. Standard Veiltar doctrine would be to withdraw and call for reinforcements. "Good thing humans don't follow standard doctrine," Ji-won replied. Instead of retreating, she accelerated toward the second Devourer ship. But this time, she did something no Veiltar pilot had ever attempted. She began to sing. It was an old Korean folk song her grandmother had taught her, something about mountains and flowing water. As her voice echoed through the ship's speakers, something strange happened. The bioship's systems began to resonate with the melody, their energy patterns shifting to match the rhythm of her song. "What are you doing?" Nari asked in amazement. "Humans use music to coordinate complex activities," Ji-won explained as she wove between enemy fire. Maybe it works with ship systems too. The results were incredible. Her weapons fired in perfect harmony, creating interference patterns that overwhelmed the Devourer ship's shields. Her engines pulsed in rhythm, making her movements unpredictable and graceful at the same time. The second Devourer ship tried to adapt, but its mechanical mind couldn't understand the organic chaos of human creativity. Jiwan's attack struck home again and again, each hit precisely timed to the beat of her song. But the third ship was learning. It began to fire not at her current position, but at where the rhythm suggested she would be next. "They're adapting to the pattern," Nari warned. "Then we changed the pattern," Jiwan said, switching to a different song entirely. The battle became a deadly dance between human creativity and mechanical learning. Each time the Devourers began to predict her movements, Jiwan would shift to a new rhythm, a new style of attack. She fought like no one had ever fought before, part engineer, part artist, part weapon of war. On the research station, Captain Minho watched the impossible battle unfold on his screens. How is she doing that? 1 ship against 3? Taman monitored the bioship's energy readings. She's pushing the systems beyond their design limits. But somehow it's working. Human neural patterns are making the alien technology perform better than it was ever supposed to. The integration is holding, Huna reported, but I'm reading massive strain on her biological systems. She can't keep this up much longer. Through the ship's communication system, they could hear Jiwan's voice still singing as she fought, but there was pain in her tone now and growing exhaustion. "Jiwan, you need to retreat," Minho commanded. "You've damaged 2 of their ships." "That's enough." "Not enough," she gasped between verses. "If even one escapes, they'll report human capabilities to the main fleet. They'll come back with more ships, better prepared." The first Devourer ship, the one she had damaged initially, was trying to withdraw from the battle. Its dark hull was scarred with energy burns, systems failing throughout its massive structure. Jiwan made a decision that would have horrified any Veiltar commander. She stopped singing and spoke directly to the Devourer ships. "I know you can hear me," she broadcast on all frequencies. "I know your kind learns from every battle. So learn this. Humans don't fight to win. We fight to protect what we love, and we will never stop fighting." Then she did something that even her human teammates didn't expect. She rammed the damaged Devourer ship at full speed. But instead of destroying both vessels, the bioship's hull began to change on impact. Organic cables shot out from her ship, penetrating the Devourer's armor and connecting to its internal systems. "What are you doing?" Nari screamed in her mind. "Something crazy," Jiwan replied through gritted teeth. "If these things learn by consuming other technology, maybe we can learn by consuming them." The neural feedback was agonizing. Devourer technology was cold and mechanical, completely alien to both human and Veiltar systems. But Jiwan forced the connection anyway, her human stubbornness overriding every safety protocol. Information flooded through the link. She saw the Devourer fleet disposition, their plans for future attacks, the locations of their manufacturing bases. But she also felt the cold malice of their artificial intelligence, trying to infect her ship's systems. "They're trying to take control," Nari warned. "Let them try," Jiwan snarled. "They don't understand human minds." The Devourer AI was designed to absorb and control other technologies through logical processes. But when it touched Jiwan's consciousness, it encountered something it had never faced before. Pure human emotion. Love for her friends. Rage at the destruction of innocent worlds. Hope for a better future. The Devourer AI couldn't process these feelings, couldn't categorize or control them. Instead of being consumed, Jiwan began to consume the Devourer ship. Her bioship's systems adapted its technology, learning its weapons and defenses, but more importantly, she learned its weaknesses. "I can see their main fleet," she gasped. "Hundreds of ships, but they all share the same central AI network. If we could find a way to disrupt that network." The remaining 2 Devourer ships, seeing their companion being consumed instead of consuming, began to retreat. But Jiwan's ship had grown stronger from absorbing their technology. She pursued them, her weapons now firing with both Veiltar energy and Devourer dark matter. "Stop," came a mechanical voice from the fleeing ships. This outcome was not predicted. "Withdrawal is necessary for analysis." "No withdrawal," Jiwan replied coldly. "No escape. No mercy for those who devour worlds." She destroyed the second ship with a single massive blast that combined every weapon system she now controlled. The third ship tried to jump to faster than light speed, but she had learned to disrupt Devourer engines from her neural connection. The final ship died in silence, its dark hull cracking apart in the cold vacuum of space. But victory came at a terrible cost. Jiwon collapsed at the control platform, her transformed body pushed beyond its limits. The strain of controlling so many alien systems, of forcing incompatible technologies to work together, had nearly killed her. Jiwon, Taemin's voice came through the radio as his shuttle raced back to her ship. "I'm alive," she whispered, though she wasn't entirely sure what alive meant anymore. Her body was more machine than human now. Sustained by Veiltar biotechnology and powered by absorbed Devourer energy. "The immediate threat is over," she reported to Captain Minho. "But this was just a scouting force. The main fleet is still out there." Through her connection to the destroyed Devourer ships, she had seen the true scope of the threat. Thousands of vessels moving slowly but steadily through the galaxy, consuming everything in their path. "How do we fight something that large?" Minho asked. Jiwon's transformed eyes glowed with determination. "We don't fight them alone. Through Nari's memories, I know the locations of other dormant Veiltar ships. Hundreds of them, scattered across the galaxy, waiting for pilots who can wake them up." She felt Nari's excitement in her mind. "You mean to create more human Veiltar hybrids?" "If they're willing," Jiwon replied. "This integration process is dangerous. It changes you forever, but it also makes you stronger than either species could be alone." As her teammates boarded the bioship to check on her condition, Jiwon began to plan humanity's next move in the ancient war against the Devourers. She was no longer fully human, but her human heart still beat with love for her species. The battle was won, but the war was just beginning. 3 months had passed since the battle at Research Station Kepler 442. The news of humanity's first contact with hostile aliens had spread throughout human space, bringing both fear and hope to billions of people. Jiwon floated in the medical bay of the newly established Integration Center, her transformed body connected to monitoring equipment that struggled to understand her hybrid physiology. She looked human from a distance, but closer inspection revealed the blue-tinted skin and enlarged eyes that marked her transformation. Organic cables ran from her spine to a mobile interface that let her communicate with Veiltar technology throughout the facility. "How are you feeling today?" Dr. Hana asked, checking her readings. "Different," Jiwon replied honestly. "Sometimes I forget which memories are mine and which belong to Nari. But I'm still me. Just more." Captain Minho, now promoted to Admiral and head of the integration program, entered the medical bay with Taemin close behind. Both men looked tired but determined. "We found 3 more Veiltar ships," Minho announced. 2 in the outer rim, 1 near the core worlds. "Are you strong enough to help wake them?" Jiwon sat up carefully. Her body was still adapting to the changes, and sudden movements sometimes caused system conflicts between her human nervous system and the Veiltar biotechnology. "I'm ready," she said, "but we need to be careful about who attempts the integration. Not every human mind will be compatible." "We have volunteers," Taemin said quietly. "More than we expected. After the footage of your battle was released, applications flooded in from every human world." Jiwon smiled sadly. She had seen the recordings of the fight. Her ship's external cameras had captured everything, the impossible dance between 1 hybrid vessel and 3 massive Devourer ships. To most humans, it looked like a miracle. To her, it felt like the beginning of something much larger and more dangerous. "Who's first?" she asked. "Daeho volunteered," Minho replied. "He's been studying Veiltar technology with Huna for weeks, preparing for the process." Jiwon nodded. Daeho was a good choice. Calm, intelligent, and brave enough to face the unknown. "And the others?" "We have candidates from every branch of the military, plus scientists, engineers, even some civilians. Everyone wants to help defend humanity." Through her connection to the facility's computer systems, Jiwon could sense the dormant Veiltar ship docked in the main hangar. It was smaller than Nari's vessel, designed for reconnaissance rather than heavy combat. Perfect for a first attempt at creating another hybrid. "Bring Daeho to the hangar," she said. "I'll guide him through the integration process." An hour later, Jiwon stood beside Daeho in the alien ship's control chamber. Her friend looked nervous but determined as he stared at the biomechanical interface. "Remember, don't fight the sensations," she advised. "Let the ship's consciousness merge with yours. The pain means the integration is working. What if I lose myself? Deho asked. You won't, G1 assured him. Your human identity is stronger than you think. The Veiltar technology will enhance who you are, not replace it. Deho placed his hands on the control platform. The ship's lights began to pulse as its dormant consciousness stirred to life. Greetings, human, came a new voice. This ship's AI had a different personality than Nari, more cautious, more analytical. I am Kilo. I have been waiting for many centuries. Hello, Kilo, Deho replied, his voice already beginning to echo with harmonics as the integration started. I'm here to help. The process was easier this time. Jiwan's experience had taught them how to smooth the neural pathways, how to minimize the trauma of human-alien merger. Within minutes, Deho's body began to show the same blue-tinted changes that marked successful integration. It's working, he gasped, his consciousness expanding to encompass the ship's systems. I can feel everything, engines, sensors, weapons. But it feels natural, like these systems were always part of me. Jiwan smiled with relief. Welcome to the club. Over the following weeks, more integrations took place. Yuna bonded with a heavy assault ship, her scientific mind perfectly suited to controlling its complex weapon systems. A volunteer named Seung-ho merged with a fast courier vessel, his pilot reflexes enhanced by Veiltar navigation technology. Not every attempt succeeded. Some human minds were simply incompatible with alien consciousness. Others succeeded technically, but resulted in personalities too changed to be truly human anymore. The program learned from each attempt, refining the process and improving the selection criteria. But with each success, humanity's fleet of hybrid bioships grew stronger. Intelligence reports suggest the main Devourer fleet is still 18 months away. Admiral Minho briefed the hybrid pilots during one of their regular meetings. But our scouts have detected smaller advance forces probing the outer rim colonies. Jiwan studied the tactical displays. Red dots marked Devourer sightings across a dozen star systems. They're testing our defenses, learning our capabilities. Can we stop them? Seung-ho asked. His integration with the courier ship had given him enhanced spatial awareness, but also made him more cautious about large-scale conflicts. We have 12 operational hybrid ships now, Yuna reported. Each one can fight multiple conventional vessels, but the Devourers have thousands of ships. Then we need more than ships, Jiwan said slowly. We need to change how we fight. She activated her connection to the facility's computers, displaying images from her absorbed memories of Devourer technology. These machines learn by consuming other technologies, but they don't truly understand creativity or emotion. That's our advantage. What do you mean? Deho asked. The Veiltar fought defensively because they were trying to preserve their civilization, but humans fight differently when we're protecting something we love. We take risks. We sacrifice ourselves for others. We do impossible things because someone has to. Through the neural network that connected all the hybrid pilots, Jiwan shared her vision. Not just individual ships fighting alone, but a coordinated fleet that could think and act as one while maintaining human creativity and determination. A group consciousness, Yuna said in wonder, but with human emotional depth instead of just Veiltar logic. The Devourers won't be able to predict us, Seung-ho added. How do you plan for an enemy that's willing to ram your ships just to protect civilians they've never met? Over the next year, the hybrid pilot program expanded across human space. Veterans like Taman volunteered despite the risks, their military experience invaluable for training new pilots. Scientists, engineers, and even artists underwent integration, each bringing unique perspectives to the growing fleet. The Devourer advance forces struck first at the mining colony of New Jeju. 3 hybrid ships responded, Jiwan's heavily modified vessel, Deho's reconnaissance ship, and a newcomer named Minseo in a defensive platform. The battle was swift and decisive. The hybrid pilots fought as one mind with 3 bodies, their attacks coordinated with inhuman precision, but guided by purely human determination. The Devourer ships, designed to consume predictable opponents, couldn't adapt to the chaotic teamwork of the human Veiltar alliance. When the main Devourer fleet finally arrived 18 months later, they found something they had never encountered in thousands of years of conquest. An enemy that grew stronger from every battle, that learned faster than they could adapt, and that would never surrender as long as there were innocents to protect. The first engagement was a disaster for the Devourers. Their massive ships, designed to overwhelm through sheer size and firepower, found themselves outmaneuvered by smaller hybrid vessels that fought with creativity they couldn't comprehend. But more importantly, they faced an enemy that fought not just for victory, but for love. As Ji-won led the hybrid fleet into battle, she remembered Nari's desperate plea from so long ago. "Please enter me, human." That simple request had changed everything, not just for two individuals, but for the entire galaxy. Now, as human Veiltar hybrid ships danced between the dark hulls of Devourer vessels, bringing light and hope to a cosmos that had known only consumption and despair, Ji-won understood the true meaning of that first contact. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from conquest but from connection. Not from taking but from giving. And sometimes, two different species can become something greater together than either could be alone. In the depths of space, the ancient war between creation and consumption entered its final phase, with humanity and their alien partners standing together against the darkness. The stars themselves seemed to sing with the voices of the hybrid pilots, carrying their message across the galaxy. We are here. We will not yield. And we will never stop fighting for those we love.